Hey there, I'm Kelly Harris. I'm a strategist, author, and storyteller, and I believe that your story is your secret sauce in life and business. Welcome to From Invisible to In Demand, where we talk about how story becomes strategy for life and leadership. If you're building something, a business, a brand, a family, a legacy, then this is the space for you. Each week, I'll share practical strategy, honest reflections, and the mindset shifts that move you from overlooked to in demand without losing yourself in the process. If you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things and you're not making the kind of revenue that you want to be making, then this episode is going to feel uncomfortably accurate. Have you ever looked around and you thought, man, I know I'm capable. I know my stuff. So why do I feel overlooked? I see this all the time with smart, capable women. So many online entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in the digital space start to feel invisible and sometimes they get very, very lonely. The hardest truth to admit is that entrepreneurship is hard. Running a business is hard. And one of the things that makes it hard is being capable doesn't automatically translate to being seen and to making more money. You know you're capable, you know your stuff, and somehow people aren't connecting with you yet. You feel overlooked, invisible, or worse, like the kid sister who doesn't belong in the room, like the pity invite. And the truth is it's draining your energy, your confidence, and your revenue. So I worked with a client last month who came to me super frustrated. She is brilliant at her work, and she had not had a client in 6 months or more. She was feeling invisible. She was feeling like no one was looking, no one was noticing her, and she was starting to feel like maybe she shouldn't be in business. What she didn't realize was that her story is the strategy that she needed to be seen. She needed to get brave, get uncomfortable, and get out there. Because the only way to feel seen is to start talking to people. And the way that we do this is we do this through servant leadership. We do this by talking to people and connecting with people and starting to build yourself a list of people that you can refer to, people that you have a conversation and you don't want to take that client, but man, you know somebody who might be the perfect fit for that. And the truth is that this friend had had a lot of life and business and caregiving happening with family members, and she hadn't been doing those things. She hadn't been talking about what was going on in her life and her business, and she hadn't been talking to people and networking and connecting. And here's the shift I need you guys to see. She made a choice to spend the month of January just connecting. I want to have as many connections as possible, and I want to do as much networking with people as possible, because think about this, guys. There are billions and billions of people in the world, and a lot of us all feel like we're invisible, or we feel like we're not being seen by the right people. What if it's not about being seen by the right people, but it's being seen by the right 5 people? What is interesting and what comes to mind is many years ago when I was in the graphic design space and was going to school for graphic design, one of the classes had a company come in and talk to us. And he said, if you go to a restaurant and you love it, you're going to tell 3 people. And those 3 people are going to tell 3 of their friends. And then those 9 people are going to tell 3 of their friends. And that is how referrals start to work and grow. Here's the catch though, guys. If you go to that restaurant and you hate it, you're going to tell 9 people that you hated it. And those 9 people will tell 9 people. And those 9 people will tell 9 people. And so we need to make sure that we are very intentional about who we're connecting with and how we're connecting with them. And in my space and in my life, I'm very intentional about always asking, what can I do for you? How can I support you in the season that you are in? And so one of the things that I did for this friend is I literally said, how can I support you? And she said, just check in with me, make sure that I am being boring and that I am doing these three things every day, that I'm finding two people to talk to, that I am posting something once a week on my Facebook or my Instagram or my LinkedIn. But like, I need to start to be seen, and I need to promote the heck out of my one offer. So she did that for the month of January. If you're in the world of business, you know that a marketing sprint is 90 days. But she made an intentional choice to just connect with people for 30 days. Just connect. I just want to connect with people for 30 days. And she puts it in her calendar when she connects with someone. I'm going to check in on you in 2 months and just see how you're doing and see where you're at. And from those actions, she has been able to generate multiple discovery calls. She's gotten two clients out of that, and another client that said, hey, I'm going to let my friend attempt to do this because I know she's in a bad spot. But if it doesn't work out, I absolutely want you as my designer. And so my point here, though, friends, is that invisibility often isn't a talent issue. It's a positioning issue. When you're not sharing your story, when you're not connecting, your authority, it's muted. And competence doesn't equate visibility. And the truth is that confidence, while it's important, doesn't always equate revenue either, because you have to serve and serve well and get results for people. The whole takeaway of this for you today is that I want you to do one thing. Go and look at your last three pieces of content. Would someone know what you stand for if they're just looking at your last three pieces of content or just what you do? I know that sounds confusing, so let me be a little bit more clear. I don't ever just post business. I don't ever just post family. In fact, most of the time that I post content, I do it with an intention. I'm very intentional about what I want to share with the world. One, because we have 4 children. I often tell people I have a million kids, but I have 4 kids, and me telling about what they did is exposing them, and I don't want them to feel like they have an online presence that they have to keep. And I don't want necessarily people to jump in and be like, oh, I know your kids because you post about them all the time. That's not the point of me posting or sharing about my life at all. I always share, if I share a story about the kids, if I share a story about life or business or being a mom, there's always a business lesson. There's always a takeaway for my people. When I say my people, my audience, my email list, my friends who I'm sharing this with, there's always a takeaway, a lesson or something that I'm like, hey, this happened, and this is my takeaway. This is the thing I want to share with you. So the truth of the matter is, I spent a lot of time in my own business feeling invisible. Even sometimes in life as a mom, there are all of these invisible chores like laundry and cooking and cleaning and all of these things that have to be done every day. And there are the same things in business that have to be done every day. And the truth is that sometimes they become very monotonous, and they become very, oh, good, we got to do the thing again. And what was really happening under the surface when I started to get like that, or at that time, was when I really felt invisible, it was because I was drowning. I was drowning in all of the ideas that I'd created in my business. And so there was no clear next step forward. And I will share more about this, but at that time in my life, my personal life was literally on fire. We all have had things happen in our lives, but I felt invisible because 2025 was really hard. We went from living in a house that we'd lived in for 9.5 years to moving twice in 3 months, because we moved into a summer home so that we could figure out where we were moving. And then there was family drama there. And so we ended up moving out of there at the end of the summer. So it was a big mess. And in the middle of that, I decided I was going to write a book. And in the middle of writing the book, my mother was at a garage sale and she fell and she broke her pelvis in two places and she died 6 days later. And I don't tell you that to trauma dump on you, but literally so many things were happening at once. And so I was learning how to be a caregiver for my father and learning how to let go of all of the things that my mom had collected over the years and learning how to be there as a mom for my four kids while they were dealing with their own trauma from the situation and trying to deal with my own trauma from the situation and trying to run a business. And I felt like nobody saw me. I felt like nobody really saw me. I was invited to a retreat that was put on by a friend of mine, and it was out of state with women that I did not know at the time. And so I carpooled with them. I went to this place, no, literally no one but the lady that invited me. And even at that time, we were not super close friends. We are now, but didn't hardly know her at all. And at one point, I was in my room taking notes, writing down notes, and I had called Chris to be like, hey, I'm here, but like, I don't know why I'm here because there are 12 women here. Every single one of them is running a 6 to 7 figure business or multiple 6 to 7 figure businesses. And then there's Kelly, who has everything on fire, and we still find a way to keep moving forward. And I had just told Chris that and set down the phone, and I was sitting there, and my friend Danielle poked her head through and said, are you okay? And I said, I'm feeling like I maybe made a mistake. I feel like the kid sister who has tagged along. All of these women are crazy successful, and I am over here just putting out dumpster fire after dumpster fire. And she said, hey, take a breath. And if you want a hug, I'll give you a hug. But you are here because you were meant to be here. There is something that you need to get from these women. A, they're not as successful as you think they are. And B, you are severely downplaying the fact that you have continued to move forward in this season, that you wrote a book in this season, that you know what you want to do and who you want to serve and how you want to help people. You're supposed to be here. And any room, and I need you to hear this, any room that you step into, you are supposed to be there. God has put you there for a reason. And that was life-changing advice for me. Because I was playing small because I felt small. I was playing small because I was so scared about what was really happening. And I was so scared that I was going to misstep and make a mistake. And another friend basically told me, hey, you will make mistakes. You tell your children all the time that failure is part of the process. Why do you think that doesn't apply to you? And it does. The one thing that you can do today is just ask 3 trusted friends, what do you think my business stands for? What do you think I stand for? What 3 words would you use to describe me? Because so often we feel invisible and we start playing small. The truth is that we were not put here to be small. We were put here to serve someone else, to leave the world a little bit better place. And so I want you, and you can email this to me or respond to me in any way, or even leave it as a podcast comment. Name one strength or story that you're downplaying and share it in your next networking conversation. Or another example might be post one little piece of content this week that tells your story clearly so that people know who you are. Because you're not invisible. You're here for a reason, and that's so important. So if this resonated with you and you're realizing that your story might not be visible in your messaging, that your values and what you stand for, you'd like them to be a little more front and center. I'd love to walk through it with you. If this episode resonated with you and you're ready to stop feeling invisible in your messaging or leadership, I'd love to support you. Each month, I offer a limited number of story strategy audits where we look at your positioning, your messaging, and the gaps between where you are and where you want to go, and the stories that you're telling. You can find the link in the show notes.